everyone, good afternoon. Welcome to another afternoon of learning brought to you by the Israel Chamber of Commerce of the Philippines. I am Kate Devera and I will be your host this afternoon. But before I continue, I'd like to let you know that we are live on the ICCP Facebook page, so feel free to like and share. I also invite you to follow us on Instagram at israelchamber.ph, on Twitter at IsraelChamberPH, and also on LinkedIn. I also would like to acknowledge our valued sponsors for today's event, our Platinum members, Ethiopian Airlines and X-Link Events. Our Gold members, Dayanan Business Consultancy in Dusit Thani, Manila, Star K Kosher and Watermatic Philippines. Our event sponsor, Dairy Fresh Asia. Thank you so much for your valuable support. We'll start the program with a short message from the Secretary of the Department of Agriculture, Dr. William Dar.
Good day to everyone. The Philippines and Israel are joined not just by common objectives, but also by the strongest and the most lasting bonds, those of shared ideals. Israel stands high from oppression to defend the cause of freedom. In so doing, their people have won the admiration to produce enough food to sustain a growing population is fundamental. And supplies most of the country's food needs. True profitability in exports has stumbled since the pandemic began. The development of our dairy industry in particular has been hobbled by decades of government neglect and institutional failure. As domestic production only supplies 1% of local demand, the Philippines imports all of its dairy products. Over the past 5 years, however, a combination of sophisticated applied science, rugged determination, and increased government support and refocusing the industry towards helping modernize Philippine agriculture. This has given the Philippine dairy industry a stronger foundation from which it can reboot. The Department of Agriculture's restructured Dairy Development Program is premised on the 4 pillars of the One DA Reform Agenda for transforming Philippine agriculture: farm consolidation, modernization, industrialization, and professionalization. Consolidation organizes farmers through cooperatives and associations and their holdings into dairy zones to ensure both a pooling of the resources and most cost-efficient public investments. Modernization replaces obsolete technologies and production techniques with newer, more innovative platforms and techniques. This goes hand in hand with efficient technology transfer programs where innovations are made accessible and affordable to farmers. Industrialization adds value to our dairy products by promoting large-scale production of goods and the fullest utilization of cutting-edge technologies and resources. And professionalization provides both small farmers and public servants the education and training they need to meet the highest standards of integrity and competence. Within this framework of progress and stability, we have devised a dairy development program that covers the entire value chain. To increase our dairy herds, we import and disseminate improved genetic materials for cattle, carabao, and goats. Our herd build-up program achieved a 6.9% increase in female dairy animals last year alone. In Nueva Ecija, we have inaugurated the Livestock Biotechnology Center equipped with a National Livestock Cryobank for the storage and preservation of local genetic material for our herds. We have also provided livestock raisers with machinery, breeding materials, and technical support for the development of forage sources for their animals. We have taken strong steps to increase our herd of native dairy carabao and goats, building on the robust resistance of native animals against diseases that are endemic in the Philippine Islands. To address the nutritional needs of our youngest and most vulnerable, we distribute locally produced milk to millions of underprivileged Filipino children each year. As of August this year, we have delivered 46% of the milk requirements of 1.5 million children nationwide. The DA, National Dairy Authority, and the DA, Philippine Carabao Center, supply 90% of the milk requirements of the school-based feeding program implemented by the Department of Education. We have likewise embarked on a renewed campaign to improve the viability of local dairy farms through our nationwide community-based dairy enterprise development program. Accordingly, we have organized the Philippine government's animal loan program along the timetable of the dairy business cycle. We are creating new capital for small dairy farmers across the archipelago. Capital in the form of training, superior genetic materials, new technologies, infrastructure, machinery, and equipment. To complement the formation of this capital, we have doubled our efforts to find new markets for local dairy products, especially carabao and goat's milk. Every year, we train thousands of farmers in quality assurance, processing, product packaging, and marketing. I'm pleased to report that the results of our efforts have been gratifying. The Philippine dairy sector produced nearly 27 million liters of top quality milk last year. That reflects 9.5% growth over the production of the previous year, an impressive achievement given that COVID-19 had crippled many parts of the supply chain in 2020. At the same time, the local dairy sector posted a value increase of 18%, growing from just over a billion pesos in 2019 to 1.2 billion in 2020. As such, the volume of milk imported into the country reduced by as much as 14% from a record high of around 2.5 billion liters in 2019 to 2.1 billion liters last year. These are proud collective achievements, but this progress is far from enough. The Philippine dairy industry needs multinational funding and expertise to expand beyond its current capacity. We need more private investments in infrastructure, energy, marketing, research for development, processing, and irrigation support. The growing domestic demand for dairy products presents equally rich ground for innovative trade arrangements. Right now, per capita consumption in the Philippines is around 22 kilograms each year, but current trends point to a rapid growth in the domestic demand for milk over the next few years. As Secretary of Agriculture, I've spoken to many business leaders here and abroad to champion the grit, ingenuity, and entrepreneurial spirit of the men and women in our agriculture sector. I am once again proudly making the same assertion today. Invest in the Filipino farmer. Invest in Philippine agriculture. You will find no more industrious, skilled, and determined an agricultural workforce in Southeast Asia than you will see here in the Philippines. We have the best farmers in the region. We Filipinos have faith in ourselves, and our faith in our allies abroad is equally strong. We know we have capable partners in Israel's private sector, and we trust their entrepreneurial abilities just as much as we trust ours. Rest assured, the Filipino people attach great importance to the warm friendship and cooperation shared by Israel and the Philippines, and also to the trade and mutual respect that have come to symbolize our long-standing alliance. Thank you very much and good day. God bless us all.
Wow, thank you so much, Dr. Dor, for your constant support to the ICCP. We would like to welcome our friends from the Department of Agriculture with us this afternoon. Thank you so much for gracing this event. At this point, allow me to introduce a very special guest, the State of Israel's Ambassador Designate to the Philippines, Mr. Ilan Fluss. Mr. Fluss was the Deputy Head of the Economic Division, Israel Ministry of Foreign Affairs from 2018 to 2021. He was the Deputy Head of Moshav from 2014 to 2016. He was the Consular Permanent Mission of Israel to the UN from 2006 to 2009. He was also the former Acting Ambassador and Deputy Chief of Mission of the Embassy of Israel in South Africa from 2004 to 2006. The former Desk Officer for South and Southeast Asia Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Asian Division from 2000 and 2004. He was the spokesperson and cultural attaché of the Embassy of Israel in Netherlands from 1998 to 2000. And from 1995 to 1998, he was the Deputy Chief of Mission, Embassy of Israel in the Philippines. We are glad to have him back in the Philippines again. Ladies and gentlemen, let us all give a warm welcome to the State of Israel's Ambassador Designate to the Philippines, Mr. Ilan Fluss.
I cannot open my camera. You have to let me open the camera. Okay. So good afternoon, everybody. Sorry, it took us a few seconds. Thank you for the introduction, and I would like to thank Secretary Dar for his opening remarks, and also to thank President of the ICCP, Mr. Yorai Ofek. It is a pleasure to be with you. Actually, it's my second interaction with the Chamber of Commerce. The first one was not so long ago in another meeting, but this is the first time I'm speaking to this audience here from the Philippines. And as I said at the introduction, and thank you for the introduction, Kathleen, I've arrived here last Monday, 3 days ago, and this is my second round to the Philippines, so which is so exciting, and I'm so happy to be back here. I left the country in 1998 and I haven't been able to visit since then. So I'm really happy to be back, and this time as an ambassador. And so now talk a bit about our ideas and programs for the coming years. But I would like to open and say that relations between the two countries really go way back. It goes back to the dark days for the Jews in Europe, 1938, 1939, during the time of the Nazi regime, when the Philippines was one of the only countries that opened the borders for Jewish refugees who were looking for places to escape from Europe, from Nazi Germany. The Philippines let 1,300 Jews enter the country. The president was President Quezon, and this is something that we appreciate. He actually saved the lives of those 1,300 people and the families that came later. The Philippines has supported the vote in the UN in 1947 for the establishment of the State of Israel, of the homeland for the Jews. And it was the only Asian country who supported the establishment of Israel. Again, this is a critical issue for us as Israelis, I think also for the Jewish nation. And this is something that we appreciate, we commemorate, and this is an important element in the very close and friendly relations between our two countries. Since then, the relations have become mature relations between two states, between people, between countries, and the span of the relations is really very wide. As you know, we have in Israel about 30,000 Filipino workers who are working in Israel, and they're critical for the welfare of the Israeli society, working with the elderly, with the disabled, and much appreciated. They are part of our families in Israel. Before COVID-19, in 2019, we had almost 30,000 Israelis visit the Philippines, which is considered one of the most wanted for, in the last 2 years, a touristic destination, going to the beautiful islands of the Philippines. We also share many years of cooperation between Israel and the Philippines in the areas of technical assistance, in many areas, in water, in agriculture, in health, in education, many fields where we invite Filipinos to Israel for training programs. We send Israeli experts to the Philippines to transfer the know-how, the technology, the experience we have in Israel. We share this with the Philippines as one of our important development partners. I can tell you, when I was here in 1995 to 1998, we had an Israeli expert based here. We had a demonstration farm in Los Baños, where we were demonstrating drip irrigation systems, fertigation, different kind of technologies used in the by the Israeli farmer community, and we introduced them here in the Philippines. The Israeli companies were very active; they're still active today, and we also were very, very active in the education sector. And this cooperation continues. It should be, and it is, upgraded, and we move from different areas to more relevant areas these days. We had, I estimate, thousands of Filipinos in Israel who got training in Israel, and Israeli experts who came here. And I would estimate the figure is close probably to 10,000 in all those years. we had a farm where we introduced to a community of women how to produce honey. And then a year later, this honey was in the markets. So these women were able to have an income out of this training. So what are we doing today? Israel is a partner of development efforts of the Philippines, and we heard from Secretary Dar the plans of the dairy sector in the Philippines. We would like to say today, together with the ICCP, that we are partners to the development efforts. From one side, Israeli companies, Israeli technologies, and Israel is a hub of innovation, a hub of technologies, and we are ready and willing to share those technologies with the Philippines. The private sector is here, but also the government sector is here. And myself, as representing the government sector, I would like to say, we are here to support, to train, to invite people to come to Israel. We can send our experts, and we will work with you to upgrade the dairy sector. In Israel, one cow would give about 11,000 liters a year, which is double the amount that a European cow would give. It is the highest in the world. And there is a reason for this. It is management, it is best practices, it is technologies, and many other sort of elements that contribute. Israel has shared this knowledge with countries in the region, such as Vietnam, such as China, and I was there involved in those projects there that are extremely successful. And today they're producing much more than they used to produce in the past. So finally, I would like to say that we will be very happy to work with the Chamber of Commerce, with the Department of Agriculture, and with the Philippine government, and with the Philippine communities and companies in finding ways together how to upgrade the dairy sector in the Philippines. I'm looking forward to working with all of you and to getting to meet all of you in the coming few days, weeks, and months and years of my stay here in the Philippines. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ambassador Designate Ilan Flus. Mabuhay and welcome back to Manila. We look forward to having you again in our future events. Let's now hear from our ICCP President, Mr. Uriah Fek.
Mr. Offet,
Hi,
please.
good
Thank you. Mr. Offet, you're muted. Please unmute. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to acknowledge Designated Ambassador Mr. Ilan Flus. Welcome back to the Philippines and to Manila. We are excited to have you back here. Secretary of Agriculture, Mr. William Dar, thank you very much for the insightful words and for the support in our chamber and the bilateral trade and engagement between the two countries. I would like to thank our members, our guests, and our speakers this afternoon in this very important and timely event. We believe that with the right transfer of knowledge and experience Israel bringing in many sectors, and in particular in the dairy sector, there's a lot to be done. As the private sector representative and a big supporter of the relationship, I would like to wish everyone a successful event. Of course, to thank our speakers tonight from DVF Farms, Mr. Dani and Mr. Gonen from Dairy Pro. Thank you very much for joining us, and let's enjoy this afternoon. Thank you. Maraming salamat. Toda velitot.
Thank you so much. That was very inspiring, President Uri. Now, before I introduce the first speaker, please be reminded that we will have a short Q&A right after the presentation, so we encourage you to type your questions at the chat box. Now, our first speaker is the chairman and president of DVF, Dairy Farm Incorporated. He is the national president of the Philippine Chamber of Agriculture and Food Incorporated. He is the chairman of the PCCI Dairy Subcommittee. He is also the national chairman of the Dairy Confederation of the Philippines from 2006 to 2012 and a member of the advisory board of the Philippine Carabao Center. Ladies and gentlemen, let us all welcome Mr. Danny Fausto.
Can I have my video, please? Can I call on the host? Can I request the host to give me access to the video? Yeah, thank you. Now we got it. Thank you very much, Kate. Kate De Vera, for the introduction. Your Excellency Ilan Flus, the Israel Ambassador Designate to the President of the Israel Chamber of Commerce of the Philippines, where I'm also a member, Mr. Yorak Ofek. To my colleagues, speakers, Paco Magsaysay of Carmen's Best and Mr. Gonen Harel of Dairy Fresh. I'd like also to acknowledge our friends from the National Dairy Authority. I think they pre-registered, headed by Deputy Administrator Farel Magtoto. And also my colleagues at the Philippine Chamber of Agriculture and Food, my good friend Toto Barcelona and Edwin Chen, and some of our friends in the chamber, Picafi, and from the media, Mr. Eli de Guzman and Jordine Lagare. Thank you for having me. I will be presenting the point of view of the primary dairy producer. And let me start with the basics, basic facts. We have 111 million Filipinos as of October 2, 16.7% of the population they live below the national poverty line as of 2018. 75% of our agri-sector farmers are poor. 11 million people or Filipinos relied on the 2.3 million OFWs. We have an unemployment rate as of June of 7.7% and underemployment of 4.2%. The Asian Development Bank has projected our GDP to be increased to be at 4.5% this year and next year at 5.5%. I said this is a conservative estimate. I guess this is more or less realistic for me. In the basic sectors in the Philippines, the poor people really live, 31.6% are the farmers and 26.2% are the fisher folks. And those that individuals residing in rural areas, 24.5%. They're the very poor of our people in this country. Regarding the investment of government to the agricultural sector, the Duterte administration has given low priority to agriculture, giving only 1.5% of the total budget, while the agricultural sector has contributed 10% of the GDP. It is getting only 1.5% of the national budget. And also for this coming year of 2022, unfortunately. And if you'll see, the agricultural sector has produced 1.7 trillion in terms of value of production versus the GDP of 18.3 trillion. It's about 367.36 billion US dollars. And from the agricultural sector, from the Department of Agriculture itself, there is a disparity of the allocation of the budget. This is not a balanced budget. If you look at the rice program, it's getting 40.45% of the budget of the Department of Agriculture, while it contributes 22% of the total agricultural production, compared to livestock, who contributes 1/3 of the total agricultural production. It gets only 3.6% of the budget. And out of this 3.2 billion livestock sector budget, dairy gets 10% of this, about 300 million. That is how the kind of investment that the government is giving to our dairy sector, leaving the private sector really to push the development of the dairy industry together with prospective investors and partners who will be encouraged to partner with the farmers and local producers. Now, looking at the farmers who are 75% poor, they are receiving 195 US dollars per month, or 9,933 9,933 per month. That is the income based on the NEDA figure, and it's about 119,196 per year. So they survive, in addition to this, they survive on crop farms, off-season crops, chicken, vegetables. There's sometimes the vegetables at the back of their houses, fish from the swamp, the rivers, hogs, some hogs that they take care of, cattle and carabao, etc. If you look at the farm income per month of 331 pesos, this is the figure given by the Philippine Statistics Authority on a per day basis. It's 9,933. It is below the poverty threshold as defined by NEDA and PSA, which is 10,727. But if a farmer will be milking at least 4 cows, producing 10 liters per day, conservatively, it gives you about 33,600 per month additional income for the farmer. This is assuming that you will milk your animal only maximum of 10 months or 300 days, from 270 days to 300 days. That brings up the total income of the dairy farmer to 43,533. According to Secretary Peña, former secretary of the NEDA, in order for the family of 5 to survive, you need 42,000 pesos per month. So we just, it shows how the income will increase if there is a milking cow given to farmers. Now let's look at the dairy situation. From the 2020 data, coming 2015 to 2020, we will see that the production of the country is less than 1%, 26,000 metric tons versus 2.9 million metric tons requirement, total gross supply. We are importing more than $1 billion US dollars, or equivalent to 53,696 pesos, 53.6 billion pesos we are importing we have imported in 2020, and 79% of this importation are in powdered form, mostly coming from the United States and New Zealand. And out of this production that we have, 64% coming from cow and 31% are coming from carabao or buffalo. And our dams is only about 15,000, 10,000 as cattle, and about 5,200 for buffalo, or carabao, as we call it. Compared to the other milk-producing countries, you will see that only 5,449 heads are in the milk line. In order to supply the requirement of the Philippines, we need 800,000 in the milk line, and we only have 5,449. And our production per cow is quite high compared to the other countries, but I think this should be verified. You have 2,733 production per annum of the cow. This is from the FAO 2018 statistics. Now, we are in Buffalo. Our company is in Buffalo. And these two animals are of the same age. The one on the right is the native carabao, and the one on the left is the crossbreed buffalo that produces about 16,800 per month. The native carabao will be producing about 20% of that amount, or less, 80% less. So that is the comparison. So it is being encouraged that for dairy, we have this crossbreed buffalo being propagated in the Nueva Ecija area where we operate. Now, what are the benefits of a smallhold dairy farmer? According to FAO, for every 10 to 20 liters that an animal produces, it generates one job. Also, in environmental benefits through balanced and integrated farming systems, it is not very much on the environment. The environment is affected if you have a great herd because of the methane emission. But if you have only 5 or 10 animals, it does not affect much on the environment. Low energy use compared to industrialized dairy production, because these are the small whole dairy farmers. They improve also their food security and nutrition. But what is intriguing is that it prevent malaria disease. When I talked with the head of the public health office of the University of the Philippines, the PGH compound, he told us that the malaria mosquito, if you have a Carabao outside your house, it attacks the buffalo because it can smell 1 kilometer away the methane of the buffalo, the breath of the buffalo. The breath of the buffalo is smelled by the mosquito and attack the buffalo. And once it attacks the buffalo, it will no longer go inside the house. When they are trying to experiment, they borrow a Carabao and leave it for about 3 to 4 hours, and they captured about 3,000 mosquitoes, malaria mosquitoes. So it's one way of preventing mosquitoes. If you want to prevent your houses in the countryside, you have a buffalo outside your house. Now, I Googled with Wikipedia, and this is a comparison between cow and Carabao. You say, of course, it's obvious that the fat content is about 1.5 times, almost 2 times. And it's amazing that it's 360% less in cholesterol compared to the cow. We have a high, about 250% more in terms of vitamin C. And of course, all the other factors, calcium, phosphorus, and protein, of course, the solids, all are superior as far as the buffalo is concerned. But however, the buffalo produces less milk than the cow. If a cow will produce 12 liters, 10 to 12 liters, the buffalo about 5 to 7 liters. Now, what are the advantages of the Philippines as far as the dairy farming is concerned for the interest of investors? I drew a circle. The red circle, the green circle, I said, will bring you 2 to 3 days to the area in Taiwan, Hong Kong, Vietnam, Bangkok, Kuala Lumpur. In 2 to 3 days, we can deliver milk to these countries. It can be in 1 or 2 days, you can be in Hong Kong. In the blue line, you'll be having Korea, Japan, and a part of China. And that means if you see New Zealand way down under to the right, it takes about 3 to 1 month, 3 weeks to 1 month to deliver their milk to these East Asian countries. Therefore, I can say that we can deliver fresh in Hong Kong and New Zealand cannot. That is the advantage that we have. Also, we have the forest that was cut and it was replaced by grass, which is the feed for our buffalo. We have large river-fed plateaus. High rainfall provide largest grazing resource in East Asia. And we have rural labor force that keep our cost low. The advantage of the Philippines in dairy. This is the system that we adopt in our company, in our farm. We have foreign partners, local partners, and from the DBF Dairy, we are coordinating with partnering with different cooperatives, and we have breeders, and they deliver. These cooperatives in turn brings it to their smallhold farmers, and deliver the milk to the cooperatives and bring it to our farm, and the farm to the dairy plant, where we market it in the local market. And hopefully, we if not for the pandemic, we will be at the export market. For the male animal, It's for meat processing. We have not done this for the meantime, and that's part of the pipeline projects of the company. But right now, we're just selling the male to the market. Oops, it's not moving. Can I stop share? The slide is not moving. I stop share and then share again. Sorry about that. Okay. Right. This is how a farm looks like, part of the DBF Dairy Farm in Talavera, Nueva Ecija. We have, for our feeds, we have silage making, corn and napier. The napier gas from Pak Chong, Thailand, which is northeast of Thailand, near Laos. And for our calves, for our calf and heifer, once we have the calf about 4 to 6 months, when it's a weaning stage, we outsource it and give it to the farmers as partners to take care of, because we have a small space, because Central Luzon is covered by the agrarian reform. We have a very small space, enough space. We have not enough space for the bigger herd. So we partner with the farmers to take care of our animals. We have about 100 of these partners that are taking care. We have about 2 or 3 animals with them. And once they are at the breedable stage, we get it back and pay them either in cash or we pay them in animals, in male animals, which they like. They prefer the male calf as a payment for their taking care of the animals. This is our operation. And once it is in the farm, all the animals in the farm are either the milking or breedable, or being bred and being milked. So we monitor them. We monitor our partners by having our technicians going around at least minimum of twice a month, and we use cell phones and we communicate and find out the status and the conditions of the animal regular basis. We also conduct health programs and teaching technical transfer to them what the proper way of taking care of the animal. This is how the evolution of our plant in year 2000, this is how it looked like. 2016.
Iba no kay kabligya man sa dalatoy.
Excuse me.
Wow niya 10-15 iya bligya mo man.
Can I have-
Kay DC dito.
Can I have that? Yeah, okay. Thank you very
Kung
much.
inatag na nila dito kay DC ako na
Can
kay DC dila ka mga latoy.
Are we okay? Now, the plant is 2016 now. We further improving it. This is our dairy plant along the highway, Maharlika Highway in Talavera, Nueva Ecija. And then this is an old picture. It already have tripled our capacity. Right now, we pasteurize, homogenize, and fill. We test, of course. It undergoes 5 way of quality control. Alcohol precipitate test, the smell, the clot and boil, so on. And we do that within the source of the milk itself before it's done to the plant. And when it arrives at the plant, it undergoes quality control before we process. And then we put it to the equipment, we package, we deliver it, bring it to the supermarkets. We have more than 200 supermarkets in Metro Manila and the Metro Manila suburbs, Pampanga in the north and the south, Batangas, and we have also our own outlets in the malls. We also conduct home deliveries online on our own, and we are also at Lazada, Shopee, Metromart, and Food Panda before. And we also participate before the pandemic. We are active in the trade fairs. We conduct regularly our quarterly planning. We have an annual planning, strategic planning. We have a regular weekly meeting. We have agri-tourism. We have regular visitors. For our friends who are here now from the Rotary, the picture on the right are the Council of Governors of Rotary International, 3780. And we have students who visits us regularly as education trip. And we have a briefing to them, and we conduct the process and tell them how it's done. Our area of operation is about 18 towns and cities within Nueva Ecija, about 20 kilometers radius to get the milk. We started with about 15 people in Talavera. Now we have more than 1,000 dairy farmers that are participating in the program. And we have now expanded to about 18. Now we're expanding to other parts of the province, and we might be expanding Visayas and Mindanao. Now, to compare in terms of, since the topic is turning milk to gold, if you compare rice farming versus dairy, if you are farming 1 hectare, you harvest about 80 to 100 kabans during the wet season, 120 to 150 kabans during the dry season, using the pale rice inbred variety of seeds at the price of 18 pesos, which is very high. Now it's 14. And 70% is the output. That's the input. And the net income will be 30%. You get about 67,500, or a high of about 80,000 per hectare per year. Now, if we will just plant Napier grass, if you feed your animal with fresh grass, we usually have about a 3%, a 3 liter, 2 to 3 liter increment because of feeding the animals with fresh grass. And if 3 liters is the increment, you price the buffalo milk by 70 pesos per liter, which is conservative. It goes as high as 80 right now. And 1 hectare can support 10. Usually it can go up to 20 heads per hectare. And you will have about, for 3 liters at 10 heads, that's 630,000 increment because of the Napier grass. That can be attributed to the earning of the land, 1 hectare, compared to just 67,000 per hectare of planting rice. You have about, for 5 liters, you have about 1 million per hectare. If you're assuming that's only 10 heads that is supported. In our case, we are supporting about 15 to 20 heads per hectare, our Napier grass, with the silage and fresh feeding. The Napier grass, about in 65 to 70 days, you harvest it, produces about 90 to 120 tons per hectare. 60 days also, we can already chop it and put it in a forage as a forage and Napier. It has about 16 to 18% crude protein, which is necessary to replace the milk that you get from the animals. Now, what are our dairy farm initiatives? It's too small. Oops. Lost it. Let's go back here. Okay. What are the capacity gaps that we have identified? The key constraint to our partners is increasing production. They lack the knowledge on how to feed milking animals because they're used of having their animals, their buffalo or carabao, for tilling the land as work animal and as a vehicle. They ride in it, and then so they're not well versed on how to milk a buffalo. So we have to teach them and how the return to estrus, conceive and produce a healthy calf to complete a 15 to 18 month cycle and continue to produce milk. Our target is after giving calving, we got to have in 18 months. It's got to be another that's calving interval, and producing milk for 300 days span. Of course, with proper nutrition. And we have what we do is organizational development. We teach the people, our farm partners, in governance, cooperative governance, forage and pasture management. What we do usually is I visit them in the afternoon once a week, each and every barangays, and bringing with me my technical people and talking with them just on a matter of milk hygiene, calf rearing, breeding, feeding, nutrition, health program, and that's and disease control and prevention. And we properly registered their records. We have the proper records for them, and we teach them also how to take care of their money and what they get out of the milk production. We improve knowledge of staff veterinarians. The problem in our country is that the veterinarians who graduated in the universities usually end up as marketing sales agent of veterinary products. No one, some of them are taking care of dogs and cats, but in ruminants, very few are left to take care of the ruminants, veterinarians. So we have to teach them animal husbandry among our technical people within our farm, and teach them the value chain from animals to the farmers to the milk collector to the plant, and the plant to the market, and improve quality of the milk and profitability. Then we access to the market per se is not limiting our dairy production. The market is not a problem. As we can see from our good friend Paco Magasaysay, market is not a problem. Except for this time of the pandemic, which are really challenging because we lost some of our institutional markets, the hotels and restaurants, and we're beginning to recover, hopefully, with a vaccine. If a vaccine is really given with speed, and the economy will get back, we get back the market. But we lost last year, we lost a lot of our market, institutional restaurants, and the supermarkets. But really, the problem is the lack of scale. We do not have enough animal to milk. And while we have the market, we import, as I said, 53 billion pesos last year, and we are only producing 1% of the milk that is required. That is including not only the liquid milk, what Secretary Dar was mentioning earlier is about liquid milk. But if you include ice cream, cheese, yogurts, and all the other products that you use as ingredients for your cooking and pastries, then we have a lot of uses for the milk. And the problem is we do not have the milk. We do not have animals. So we also conduct analytical study of our soils, the forage, and manufactured feeds. Artificial insemination services provisions in terms of number and quality of our local bulls. We get our semen with the help of the National Dairy Authority for our cows. And for the buffalo, we get our semen from the Philippine Carabao Center. And we thank them for this assistance that they're giving to the farmers, the dairy farmers. We also improve our quarantine facilities, especially if there are new animals coming into the farm. It undergoes quarantine system before it is really put in together with the herd. And we tailored forage seeds seeded for our area. We have indigo fera, cacahuate, pilipil, and of course corn and napier. And economic list of seed production, development, and expansion of our forage nurseries. We consult not with the members of the cooperative. We consult with the wives and the children. because it is the wives and the children who are left in the house. Mostly the members of the cooperative are out going to the Sabong and Tong-It and Inuman. And what is left really taking care of the animals are the wives and the children. So in addition for teaching the members of the cooperative, in our case, we are very much in partnership with the Talavera Dairy Cooperative, which I organized way back in 1990. It grew from a small of 15 members. Now we have more than 100 members. And also other cooperatives in all the other towns, 18 towns and cities. And we consult with the families, with the children who's taking care of the animal. And we conduct regular training from our partners, our technicians on different on health and nutrition and calf rearing, breeding, feeding, milk hygiene, forage, everything, all the topics about dairy. We also conduct and try to develop our successors, the youth. There will be no success if there are no successors. And we develop the children of our partner farmers regularly. We also have a scholarship for them, and we have graduated some of them already. And if they graduate in accounting or food technology or other that we can adopt and we can absorb, some of them are already employed in our company, and some of them are taking care already of their own dairy farm. And while they're studying, they take care of the calf, and they have already some allowances for their school because of taking care of the animals. The youth program is a training program between 15 to 30 years old. And we have camp workshops organized by our company. We spend for it. And it really encourages and assists the youth as a responsible members and of the family and potential dairy farmers and effective young entrepreneurs by providing them the training experience. And it's to encourage continuous succession and leadership in dairy farming. We don't like to lose them. We want to develop the family as in a more learned and knowledgeable members, dairy farmers and entrepreneurs. To mitigate our risk, we insure our animals, get back the capital when it die. We have a strict monitoring of the health and nutrition and the caring of the animal. We go around for capability building among our partners, network players. We have professional management and animal husbandry expertise. We have our people in our dairy. Our dairy farm is the anchor farm that provides technical assistance to the different dairy networks. And the value chain technology from farm to market. I believe we have a strong brand and market penetration. And we segment our market by focusing on buffalo, while all the other friends that we have here now are in cow. So they are playing basketball, we are playing volleyball. And what are the business opportunities in dairy? Turning milk into gold. You get money from forage and feed production. You can sell the feeds, the forage through silage. The silage is being bought in our province, but about 5 pesos per kilo. But we produce it ourselves. We spend about less than 2 pesos or 1 peso per kilo. In calf rearing, that's what we're doing. We outsource the calf rearing and monitor it. Milk collection, we have milk collectors to collect the milk for us, making money also. Breeding, AI technicians. We also have, just like swine, you have a bull that you can let out and make money out of it. Dairy products, we have dealers. We have endorsers, influencers, we have subscribers, referrals, agents, and meat processing is yet there, but it is a business. And of course, the skin that you get from the buffalo can be used, and the cow can be used for leather goods. So in summary, you have poverty, and with smallhold farmer, you have dairy farm. There is an income opportunity. It provides money for education, your health of the family, home acquisition, and clothing. Thank you very much. Milk does not only build strong bones, it also helps build a strong nation. This coming from the National Dairy Authority. Thank you for the opportunity. I'm now ready for any question, if there is.
Kate, please
Kate?
unmute. Yeah, Kate, are you unmuted? Kate, you are on mute. Please make sure that Kate is not muted, everyone.
Yeah, as I was saying, thank you so much, Sir Danny Fausto, for that very engaging presentation. We learned a lot from you. Now, if you guys, every one of you, have any further questions, you can email us at our ICCP email, secretariat@iccp.ph, and then we'll get back to you with Sir Danny's answers via email. Now, let me introduce to you our second speaker. He is the managing partner of Carmen's Best Ice Cream. He is the former CEO and president of the Asian Vision Cable Holdings Incorporated, a recipient of the Kenny Beatty Award in 2013 from the Penn State Creamery, Pennsylvania State University's College of Agricultural Science, a graduate of bachelor's degree in marketing from the University of Texas, and has a master's degree in entrepreneurship from the Asian Institute of Management. Everyone, let us give a virtual applause to Paco Magsaysay.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Great. Okay, I'll share my presentation. Okay, great. So my presentation today is about our ice cream business. But before I start, I'd like to share that when my father started his professional life back in the late 60s to early 70s, he was working with the Nasser brothers, Jack Nasser and his brothers of Gelmart. Gelmart is a intimate apparel manufacturer here in Bikutan. So this was back in the late 60s, early 70s. So, you know, he had a lot of stories about the Nasser brothers, who are Sephardic Jews. And he was working also very closely with Mr. Yusuf Soveiki. So Tito Yusuf would come to the house often, and he would bring his daughter, Selma Soveiki, and they would spend time with us during weekends. So even many years ago, my father already, he says he has Jewish blood. And later on, I think in the mid-90s, Mr. Fred Niemann, I'm not sure if the ambassador remembers Mr. Fred Niemann, but he's a person who lived in the Philippines for quite some time. And he was one of my advisors back in the 90s, Fred Niemann. So at that time, when my father was still with Gelmart, one of the things he was in charge with was CCTV cameras, or closed circuit TV. And he attended a seminar run by Philips cameras. And from there, he met his partners, who eventually he would get into business with in cable TV. So my father got into cable TV in 1972, and that's been our family business. So fast forward to 2018, my father decided to get into dairy farming. So you can imagine, from cable TV to dairy farming was quite a big change. And I had started working for the family business in the mid 90s. So about 10 years after I started in the business, and my father started talking about getting into dairy farming, I was scratching my head, and I had no idea why he wanted to get into dairy farming. But he did work with the NDA, the National Dairy Authority, in 2007, and they brought in 100 dairy cows, pregnant heifers from New Zealand through the NDA, and that's how our journey started in dairy farming. So the first year of dairy farming, I was so against the dairy farm that I didn't even go to the farm the first year of operation. But 1 year after, my father asked me for help to sell the milk because, with cows, you have to milk the cows every day, and we were not selling the milk fast enough. So we ended up throwing a lot of the milk, which I felt was a waste. So this is where Carmen's Best comes into play. Okay, my presentation is not moving. Okay, maybe here, yeah. Okay, so talk about Carmen's Best. And this is an ice cream brand that I started in 2009. When we incorporated in 2009, the company we incorporated was called Carmen's Best Dairy Products because we did not know we were going to get into ice cream. All we knew is I was going to make something with the milk. Okay. So this is my father on the left side. His two friends, Ray David and Danny Di Mayuga. They're the three founding partners of our dairy farm called Real Fresh Dairy. Our farm is in Bai Laguna or Bay Laguna, which is near UP Los Baños and International Rice Institute, IRI. We are long-term leasing 27 hectares from a local family, but we have purchased about 3 hectares because when we built the processing plant, we had to own the land to avail of a loan from the bank. So part of the 26 hectares we've purchased from the family. So as I said, we started with 100 pregnant heifers, and now we have 250 heads of dairy cattle. We put up our own processing plant in 2010. And the plant that we put up is an HTST inline pasteurizing and homogenizing plant. So if you see in the bottom right side, if I can move my head, you'll see it says MGT here, and there MGT and MGT here. So MGT is a company from Israel. They make dairy processing equipment, and they came here to visit us in the Philippines. They have a distributor here in the Philippines, and we have the first fresh milk pasteurizing plant. Okay, so that's very important because it's not an ESL, extended shelf life, nor is it a UHT plant. It is a fresh milk pasteurizing plant. So we produce fresh milk. We do not mix it with water. We don't put any powdered milk. It's 100% fresh milk. So we believe in the integrity of our product, whether it's fresh milk, the integrity of the yogurt, the ice cream, and all our dairy products. So that is one thing that we pride ourselves with. I've been coordinating with people from Athi Milk. I can't remember this gentleman's name, but maybe Gonen remembers. Gonen, do you remember this guy? Gonen? See here?
Dagan.
Dagan, yes, Dagan, yeah.
No, this is not
Um,
the brother. This
no,
is
Dagan is the other guy.
The other guy, yeah.
The other guy.
Yeah, this guy is he has a Spanish name. I forget his name, but
His
he
name is Jose. Jose from Allflex in China.
yeah. So he passed by here because he had a client in Davao, or Bukidnon. So when he stopped over here, I made it a point to visit him. I sat down with him with my son Jaime, and we met for a good hour before he connected to his flight to Davao. And I always get good information and good knowledge from my my friends from Israel. And this is Gonen, right? This is Gonen. This is what's his name again? Gonen.
This is the
This
gun.
is
The guy.
this is
Dagan
Dagan.
from
Yeah,
Allflex as well, yeah.
yeah. So yeah, I have a wrong company here. Affy Milk. That's a different company. But we really consult with companies from Israel with regards to our dairy farm. So we believe that they have top technology and top consultants. So we try to get as much information and knowledge from our consultants. And of course, Ambassador Effie. Spent a lot of time with Ambassador Effie. Would have lunch with him in Rockwell because he stayed in Rockwell. So this was several years ago. So we really kept stayed in touch with each other. But people ask me, who is Carmen? So Carmen is my only daughter. So if you see on the left side, she's my unica hija, as we say in the Philippines. Unica hija is only daughter. But I have two other children, and that's Jaime and Mikey. I don't know if you can see them, but that's them there. So Jaime and Mikey are my two boys, and Carmen is the youngest in the family. Okay. So if you notice, I have another brand of ice cream called J&M because that's Jaime and Mikey, J&M. And this is our alcohol infused ice cream. So we have an ice cream that has alcohol. We launched that earlier this year. And we also have another ice cream called Arctic, which is we have our Filipino flavors in Arctic, and it's a more how you say pocket friendly ice cream. So it's not as rich or as decadent as Carmen's Best, but it's a little bit more price friendly for the market. We've also started a natural cheese line, and we just started this in September last month. So we had an Italian cheese master help train us to make Italian tuma, cacciota, gorgonzola, and ricotta. So these are the cheeses that we've been practicing and working on, and so far the take up has been quite good. We're playing off the premium market that Carmen's Best serves, and it seems like our market in Carmen's Best appreciates also the cheese. So hopefully this cheese line will continue to grow and help us with our huge loss of sales in the last year and a half because of the pandemic. So our business model for our ice cream business was not to have 20 or 30 ice cream shops around Metro Manila. Our business model was to work with other businesses. When I started the business in 2011, I still had a full-time job. So I couldn't spend so much time with the ice cream business. So I had to find a way to sell the ice cream and still hold on to my full-time job. So what I did was I would sell the ice cream we would make at night. We would sell it to groceries and to restaurants while I worked during the day. When I come home at night, I would work and produce ice cream. I would make the ice cream with my staff in the house who were no longer nannies to my kids because my boys had already grown and they were not working as nannies. So I used them as labor to make ice cream. So we were making ice cream in the house when we first started. It was only 2 years after starting the ice cream business in 2013 that I left my full-time job working in the cable company of my father, and I started running the ice cream business full-time. And since 2013 to now, it's been my full-time job. So our business model was to sell to supermarkets, airlines, hotels, restaurants, coffee shops, community resellers. And just recently, we have our own website, which is carmensbest.com, that sell our products. But if you notice, the hospitality industry has been severely hit by by COVID, and it's really hurt us a lot because a lot of our accounts have either shut down or slowed down their orders. So it's been quite challenging, which is why I had to sort of come up with this other line of cheese making. In the past 10 years, companies like auction houses, premium brands like Illy, restaurants are happy to put our logo in their, in their dining area. We work with Serenity, Rockwell Land. We work with Lexus Philippines. So we are the premium. We work in the premium level sector in the Philippines. I think it's also important that our delivery trucks is an extension of what our brand is. And if you see some of our trucks, it's designed very differently, and it appeals to a certain market. You see our trucks around Metro Manila or delivering in Baguio, delivering in Batangas City. People take notice. They see that it's different. And for me, our trucks are an extension of our personality or our DNA, and it appeals to a certain market that will how you say will appeal, that our products appeal to. So we work within a certain band. In December of 2019, just a few months before the lockdown hit, or when COVID hit in March of 2020, we opened a shop in Singapore with a reseller who was based in Singapore, and he was Singaporean. But sadly, we had to close that shop a few months ago, as the slowdown in the economy was really tough on them and really tough on everybody, especially us here in Manila. So we had a shop that lasted for over 2 years, and we're happy with how the reception of the Singaporean market, the premium Singaporean market, took to our ice cream. So hopefully we can open again in Singapore and other Asian countries. So in closing, you can check our website, which is carmensbest.com. We sell all our 3 lines of ice cream in that website. We have turned it into a full e-commerce site, so you can pay online in a very secure payment gateway, and we will deliver it within Metro Manila to your friends and family. For the cheese, we have a Viber group, and we're now at 105 members, but we're trying to slowly grow it. We don't want to grow it too fast because cheese making takes time. I mean, the tuma that you see in front of you, it has a 5-day aging process. The cachota has a 10-day aging process, and the gorgonzola has a 30-day aging process. So when people order, we tell them that we just have to make it for them, and they have to wait a few days to get it, because that's what natural cheese is. It takes time to make, and people understand that. So hopefully we're able to grow the natural cheese business. And thank you so much for having me. And if you have any questions, please let me know.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Paco Magsaysay. We have questions. I think we can reach you through secretariat@iccp.ph. Thank you so much for your time. Now I'll proceed with introducing our third speaker. He is the Chief Dairy Expert of Dairy Fresh Asia. He is the Husbandry and Nutrition Manager of Vinamilk in Vietnam. He is also the former Manager of Husbandry, Vet and Nutrition of VN Future Milk from 2015 to 2017. He has also supported Afimilk farms in Russia and China on behalf of Afimilk Israel. Ladies and gentlemen, let us all welcome Mr. Gonin Harel.
Hi, can you see me? Just, you cannot start it. Hello, do you see me now? Can you hear me?
Yes, we do.
Sir.
Okay, let me share my screen first. Hello, everyone. My name is Gonen. I'm I'm a dairy farm expert. I'm partner in Dairy Fresh. This company established 2 years ago with my partner for me that staying in Singapore, Ran, that we are also know each other since we are children, because we grow in the same village in Israel, in a village that the main business in our village was dairy farming. And we also joined with Kate, that she is supporting us with all the activities in Philippines. Today, first of all, I want to say about Dairy Fresh that our, just a second. Dairy Fresh, our main target in Philippines is to transform dairy production industry in the Philippines by building our high productive model farm. This one farm will be center for the other farmers to learn and get services. We will introduce Israeli technology method localized to Southeast Asia, proven already in Vietnam, as we will show in this presentation. The main agenda in this presentation will be the first, we will explain why we want to make a high productive farm. We will show case study from Vin Future Milk in Vietnam, and we will show you our plan for the Philippines. A little bit about myself and the company. So I'm involved in dairy farm since I was a child, the truth. I grew up into a small dairy farm, and I took over my family farm with 40 cows in around 2000. And with a group of local farmer in my village, we built a new farm, a cooperative farm of 8 families today. We established the farm in 2005, and today it started with 300 cows. Today we have 600 cows. It's one of the biggest farms in the private sector in Israel. And I was running this farm for 5 years. And then in 2010, I had opportunity to come to Vietnam to manage a big project as part of a team that Afimilk invited us to manage for. TH project is is a famous project that we started with 30 few big farms that are the total farm was 30,000 cows, and we brought all the Israeli technology and know-how to manage those farms and to start the operation. And since 2010, I was involved in few projects in Vietnam. I've been so this is some of the projects that I was involved in with. The first one is, like I said, is the Milky Way. This is my farm, our farm in Israel. I was also involved in TH project for 1.5 years. I've been involved in Future Milk, and this is the farm that we will introduce in this presentation. This is the most successful farm in Vietnam. And I was also involved in a project that was a government project of Israel. For 2 years, I was managing the demonstration farm of the Israeli embassy in Vietnam. And I was, and another company that we work with is Anova Group. So now we'll start. I want to touch a little bit why to make a high productive farm in Southeast Asia. So the main reason is that high productive cows will reduce our cost per liter of milk. And the reason is this. I will try to make it easy to understand that because this is really the basic of our operation. If we take a farm with 2 cows, each cow is doing 10 liter, and she need to eat, to make 10 liter, a cow need to eat around, let's say 12 kg, because part of the food that the cow will eat is for maintenance. A cow will not, every animal on earth need to eat only to stay alive, and the rest, if she's productive, the rest of the production will go to make, the rest of the feed will go to make milk. So the more the cow eat, the more efficient she will become, because these 2 cows in this farm, for example, will eat around 24 kg to make 20 liter. And in the other hand, we have a farm that the cow doing 20 liter and eating 15 kg of feed, because the part of the maintenance in this cow is lower than the part of the maintenance in these 2 cows. So this farm will be a loose farm, and this farm will be a profitable farm. And this is really the basic of the idea of why we want to increase the milk production, and why we do all this effort of technology and investing in so much method and machine to increase the milk, and it's all based on this basic truth about the animals in the farm. And another important point here is that the food in every farm is around 70% of the operation cost. So it's very important. So if we want to really reduce cost of production, we need to reduce the cost of the feed by increasing the milk. And here we give you another example of we scale it to 600 milking cows. So the farm can be, if the farm is around 15 kg, this is the break even. Under 15 kg, normally a farm, commercial farms, yes, with a big amount of cows. I'm not talking really about small farms that are feeding from only their own local feed in their home with a low cost of management and operation. But in a commercial farm, when we're trying to increase the scales, we have a lot of other costs like management and workers and employees. So all this, and electricity. So all these things come down to that if we are not increasing the milk, we cannot pay those costs. And by increasing the milk, we're reducing the part of the food in the operation, and we're increasing our profit. So what is the main? So now I want to, after we explained the why, and I want to share with you one example of a farm that we work. This is a VN FutureMed. This farm in general was a local dairy farm company that in 2010 a group of investors from Australia bought the farm after it was not successful. It's almost bankrupt, and they were looking to sell it, and the investors from Australia it was a good timing for them they came to Vietnam and they bought the farm, and they decided to invest in Israeli technology and know-how to manage the farm. They brought experts from Israel to manage the farm. They established a milking parlor, and they start to milk the cow. When they first started, there was 200 cows that were really suitable for milking. The farm was doing 10 liter. And in the next few years, by investing in technology and know-how, the milk production improved a lot. And I will show you in the next slide how from the last 5 years production of this farm. But just before we go to this slide, I want to show you, to give one comment about how we're achieving, we explain why we want to achieve high production, but how we're doing it, it's a question of, in my opinion, 3 basic rules: that we have to have a good nutrition, good fertility and health for the animals, and good cow comfort. If we synchronize between all the 3 and all in the 3 level, we have a good chance to create high milk production with a good economic result. If one of them, if we invest only in nutrition or we invest only in technology, we may not see the benefits of using of the investment. Only if we are creating a similar investment and similar level of condition between all those 3 parameters, we can achieve our results, our expected results. In Vietnam and Philippines, there is a very different it's a different environment from what, for example, from what we've done in Israel. So during those years that I'm in Vietnam, I've learned a lot, and we change a lot of, and we update a lot of know-how and technology to the condition of Vietnam. And I think it will be suitable also to Philippines. So what we are doing in Israel, for example, in our local farm in Israel, is not exactly the same like we are working in Vietnam and probably in the Philippines, because the conditions are very different from Israel to Vietnam, Philippines. Vietnam and Philippines are much more humid, and the kind of food is different from Israel. The available forage is different. So we need to deal with high humidity, hot weather, inconsistent nutrition. We're looking for a cost-effective solutions, and there is also a lack of experience and technology and expertise in like discussing the other presentation about vet training local vet and improving know-hows of the employees in the farm. And we are already done all this in Vietnam, and we're planning to replicate it in Philippines. Cow genetic also can influence, although that if we don't achieve all these 3 parameters, the genetic probably will not be, we cannot fulfill the genetic potential, but for sure, we have also in this farm in Future Milk, for 10 years, we imported semen also from Israel. And I think one of the reasons that this farm is so successful is the good semen from Israel that is not exactly the same weather like in Vietnam, but it's still hot and difficult weather for animals. So the cows that were developed in Israel are more suitable for hot weather than a cow that comes from the US. The next slide. This is the graph of Future Milk in the last 5 years, taken from the system, and you can see that in general the milk is going up. This is 2015 until 2021 until September, and from year to year the milk was going up, and I will try to explain what we've done in every step. So as I said, this is already in a good result. Before we started with 10 liter, but the but in the first 5 years, we go up to 25, 30 liter, and after that we achieve even higher milk production. And and the truth is more easy to go up from 10 to 20 kg, but much more difficult to get from 20 to 30 and from 30 to 35. It's the higher you go, it's more difficult to achieve. So the first thing that we improved in 2016 was the silage quality. So this was the way they done the silage before the investment. So it was very basic tools, chopping machine from China and corn that come from small farmers into a bunker that made from soil, very cheap, and create a lot of problem of qualities in the silage process. So we decided to invest in sausages machines and to create silage in a more stable way and improve our quality of the silage. So this was the first step. We did it. It took us, you can see that we didn't immediately go up, but we had the process of learning how to use the machine and to create a better silage. But the second year, we already saw improvement. And then in 2017, we make another investment in cooling tunnels. Cows in general, the temperature, they like to be in a temperature of 15 degrees. Something that is almost impossible to get in Southeast Asia. So the more they make, the higher the milk, the more heat they produce. One cow, I will show it later, but one cow is equal, that making 40 liters is equal to 35 people in terms of heat production. So we have to help the cow to maintain their body temperature to increase their milk production. And this is why we invest in cooling systems to give them a better environment. And after we invest in the cooling system, the milk go up a little bit more. And then the next step was improving cow's comfort, because the farm, until something happened. Sorry. The farm until 2017 was, this is a freestall barn with, and the sand bedding was putting into the freestall by hand. So it was very difficult, hard work, and people did not do it well, as you see in the picture. So we invest in machines to put and recycle the sand and to implement it every day into the freestalls. And this is how the farms look now when they're using machine and they recycle the sand. And you can see that this had a huge impact on the milk production. After the cow comfort improved, the cows were producing higher and higher milk, that they achieve even 37 kg per cow per day in part of the year. This is another good picture, cows resting in a very comfortable environment. And now I want to share some a little bit more details about what we do in terms of technology. We are using the technology is coming to help us to monitor the situation in the farm and to take decisions and to, as I said, to manage all those parameters that we need to look on in the farm to create a better environment for the cow to create more milk. So we're using a system like Farm from Israel and also, we have also SCR, and we have also a dashboard that we are creating with our know-how big data technology to collect data from all the systems and to take better to analyze it and to take better decision on how to deal with the cow, how to produce, how to create better conditions for them. Which cow need to go out, which cow should stay, what when to treatment, all those things went to AI. All those parameters are taken in consider. We receiving them from the technology in Israel, the Israeli technology, and we can take better management of the farm. This is another explanation a little bit about why we need to cool cows. This, for example, cows that are in like a cooling area, it's also like a, you can say it's like a waiting area for milking. In a big, every farm has a milking parlor, and if it's a commercial farm, and the cows are standing in the waiting area waiting for milking. And these 100 cows that you see here in a size of 110, 20 meter on 10 meter wide will equal to 3,500 people. Of it's like 3,500 people are standing here in this small area. So think how hot they're feeling when they are in this kind of, if we don't give them any cooling solution to reduce the heat they produce. And again, if we go to the silage, this is example from another farm in Vietnam that we improving the silage process. And here it's the pH of the silage. So when we start to work there, the silage was going up and downs. And we slowly improved the process of the making the silage, and the pH become more stable. And the milk production in this farm improved a lot. This is the bunker from this farm. So just to conclude, this is what we are trying to, this is our experience in Vietnam. This is what we've done, our achievement, and we are now, will introduce Kate, my partner, she will introduce our plan for Philippines. Thank you.
Thank you, Gonen. I'll take it from here. So I want to share with you our planned high productivity dairy farm project in the Philippines. So this slide shows our vision to create and transform Philippine dairy industry. We will open a model farm in Laguna, leveraging Israeli methods, as what Mr. Gonen explained before, that we have tried and tested and localized successfully to the Philippines. We aim to use advanced cooling, computer-aided monitoring, and build the first sand bedding system in the country. So this model farm will act as a center for existing farms and the new ones. This will provide knowledge and trainings as well as services, such as silage making. We do have also vets to help each farmers to grow and prosper. So I believe that we can make this work with proper management, proper nutrition, farm structure, and with all the know-how and technology that we will use that has proven fit to the Philippines ecosystem and needs. Okay, so on your screen right now, thank you, by the way, is our planned dairy farm in the Philippines. So we're going to start with 200 cows and scale it after. So on this chart, you will see the year-over-year herd growth from years 1 to 5. It shows the expected milking cows, dry cows, and the total herd. The one that you see on the red is the milking cows. The yellow ones is on the total dry cows. So another figure shown here is the farm existing structure. We will fully equip it with free stalls, advanced cooling methods. We'll use also sensors and smart tags, or we will use also our cow monitoring system technology from Israel, and build a sun bedding system for maximum cows comfort. So we aim also to employ local Filipino experts, since we really need those Filipino experts to work with us, and other local employees also who have worked with us in as internship in Vietnam and Israel. One key success factor also is to get support from our government. We are seeking help from our government in the form of loaning cows from the National Dairy Authority. I hope they will give us a chance so we can make this work. Because on this project, since this is such a high capex agricultural project, once we were able to get this help from the government, this will allow us to invest in the technology and gain operational efficiency. Let's go on with the next slide, please. Since our vision is to provide 100% quality milk to every Filipino, support the local community, create jobs, and increase milk self-sustainability. The one that you are seeing right now is a good example of dairy farm projects and how it can generate jobs in region, and also for local farmers. These simulate new jobs for corn growers, drivers, direct employees, and indirect ones. This is the one that we saw in Vietnam, how their dairy farming is growing, basing on the 1,200 cows that they have. So it's changing the life of those living there, of the habitants over there. And since we all know that the Philippines doesn't have this massive dairy industry, we relied mostly on the imports of low quality milk powder. For this, I would say that I know that we will be able to produce more quality milk, and let's make this goal so our farmers will have a happy life and a better life. Thank you. So anyone who are open to work with us, either existing farms or consulting or investors, landowners who wanted to share our vision, you can reach us on contact@dairyfresh.asia, and you can also visit our website, which is www.dairyfresh.asia. If
I
you
want to
have
work
any
with you.
questions, thank you.
Conan, I'll work with you guys.
You're free to join, Paco. Thank you.
We are working together for a long time.
I know, we've been talking for a long time.
I was one of your best clients in the Singapore ice cream. It was very tasty. I love it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Paco.
Thank you, Kate.
All right, thank you so much, Ms. Kate Francisco, the Managing Director for the Philippines of Dairy Fresh Asia, and also to Mr. Gonin Harel of Dairy Fresh Asia. Before we continue, allow me to thank once again our valued sponsors who made today's event possible. Our Platinum members, Ethiopian Airlines and X-Link Events. Our Gold members, Dayanan Business Consultancy and Dusetani Manila. Star K Kosher and Watermatic Philippines. Our event sponsor, Dairy Fresh Asia. Thank you very much for your support. We would also like to invite you to our upcoming events. Please check the chat box for the registration details. We will have the business opportunities for Israel and the Philippines on the 19th, dealing with the Delta and other pandemic challenges on the 21st, Chutzpah Skills for the Future on the 27th, and Hebrew for beginners from November 22 until 26. So there you can see the links at our chat box, and we hope to see you on these upcoming events, everyone. At this point, I'd like to call the head of Agriculture Committee and the one who spearheaded this successful event, Mr. Toto Barcelona.
Sorry. Good afternoon, everybody, and I would like to thank you for spending the time with us. And I hope that the speakers that we have, no, who shared their experiences, have opened your mind, no, to the potential of dairy farming in the Philippines. I love the ice cream of Paco, no? Carmen's best. But I didn't know that he has the Arctic. Baka masarap din. So anyway, dairy is a very challenging industry in the Philippines. As Secretary Dar mentioned, we only produce 1% of our local needs. So 99% are produced by New Zealand farmers, Australian farmers. So you can see, you can look at it in two ways. One is, oh, it's hopeless. We only have 1%. The other one is, oh, the opportunity is so big. We can produce 99%. No, it's just like the a very nice story from Africa. No, two Taiwanese managers were sent to Africa. They were shoe manufacturers. So one manager says, oh, there's no market. Everybody is barefooted. So he reported to his boss. No? The other manager was so excited and said, the market is so big, nobody wears shoes. So I think it's the same with our dairy. No? We can look into the different operations, and we welcome, of course, the group of from Israel to be able to transfer their technology. No? You know, in Israel, their productivity per cow, no, I think Paco would know that. No, they're so far behind. No, so of course it depends on the nutrition, the management, the care. No, you see, they have to make the cows comfortable.
Yung breed rin, sir, yung breed. Their breed is a little
no,
different.
of course, yeah, the heifer, no, the breed. So Paco is going to work for the Israelis to get the
I'll be in the kibbutz.
technology.
The kibbutz. I'll work in the kibbutz.
Okay, so I was in Israel in 2010, and really it's amazing, no? The cheese that they have, the milk that they have. So milk is just flowing, no? So I look forward, no, to the young people. I welcome here our good friend from Iloilo, Janike. He's also into dairy, and I'm sure he's going to make waves, no, in the Visayas. So thank you again for joining us, and we look forward to have you in the other activities of the Israel Chamber of Commerce to the Philippines. Every month we have many activities lined up. So thank you, and Toda Raba.
Thank you so much, Sir Toto, and congratulations on another successful event. Everyone, to all the participants, we would like to request you to turn on your camera so we can take screenshots. And again, we are grateful for having you here. See you all at the next event. Again, this is Kate Vera, your event host this afternoon.
We're taking screenshots. Please smile. Okay. Thank you. Secretariat, we're good. Birds. Okay. Ferds, are we okay with the screenshots? Okay, I think we're good. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Madayaw.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
When we shall talk.
Thank you.
Kate.
אהלן, אילן.
Hey, good to see you.
טוב לראות אותך גם. דבר.
March!